It's that time of the week again where we answer 5 health and fitness questions from our CoreFit community and the wider community. We call it the Friday 5. It's my favourite time of the week, so here we go. All right, question 1. I always get a sore back when doing core exercises. What am I doing wrong? Great question. I'll answer this in 2 parts. Part 1 is it's possible that you're doing exercises that are a little bit outside of your scope. So what that means is that your core strength and the exercise you're doing are at different levels. And so often this will happen with core exercises that are more hip flexor orientated. And so what I mean by that are exercises like sit-ups, where you sit all the way to the top, or exercises where you're lying on your back and you've got to raise your legs up and down and do different things. What happens with these type exercises is your hip flexors, which connect your thigh to your hip, they will activate more as a result of those movements. And then what can happen is because the hip flexor is quite a long muscle and it attaches to your spine, your lower back, and your lower back muscles attach from the other side, often the hip flexors, when they become tired, they'll actually start pulling on the lower back muscles and that'll become painful for you as well. So my number 1 tip is making sure that you're doing the right exercise for your level, which is important, which we'll go through. And second of all, making sure that you're actually thinking about what you're doing when you're doing the core exercise. You know, I suppose too often sometimes people would be racing through a workout to get it done without actually thinking about what's happening in the muscles they're trying to work. So that mind and muscle connection is really important, and sometimes slowing things down and focusing on your breathing and trying to activate what you're trying to do, that always helps too. But often it's just a mismatch with where you're at with your core strength and the level of exercise you're doing. So some of the best exercises you can do are the plank, because it's a really good bracing movement. And that way you don't have to think about your hip flexors. It's just thinking about getting onto your elbows and just really bracing hard through your tummy. Side planks are great as well, so turning on your side and doing the same thing. And even crunches are great too, because you don't have to come all the way up in a crunch. You're only coming about 30% of the way up. And that means that you don't really get the hip flexor recruitment, and you can just focus on nice, slow repetitions, focusing on engaging through your tummy. So planking, crunching, and side planking are great. There are others, but I'd start there. And even just start for 30-second intervals there and see how you feel, and just build yourself up. And then the goal is to progressively build your strength so that you can get to the level where you can do other exercises like, say, sit-ups or exercises where your legs are off the ground, so that you don't feel back pain. Hope that helps. Number 2, what are the best exercises to lose my fuddabudas? Now, I've learnt that a fuddabuda is a tricep. I've heard there's lots of different names for triceps, canteen arms and tuck shop arms, but fuddabudas is a new one. So this person in particular, who's a client of ours, has done remarkably well. So we're really proud of her. She's lost a stack of weight. And so what's happened is she's been left with some excess skin down here, and that is completely normal. We've helped a lot of people lose lots of weight over the years, and often what will happen is that you'll have an element of excess skin left over, and often it's in the areas of, say, your triceps and around your belly, and that's just because that's what happens. You've lost a lot of body fat from that area, and so you're left with a lot of excess skin. You can definitely work those areas more and focus on trying to tone the muscle and build the muscle in that area, and things like tricep dips and overhead tricep extensions and tricep push-ups. Any pushing type exercise will help that. But what will happen eventually is that you may want to get that skin tucked if that's something that's concerning you or not making you feel comfortable. And we've had people get that done surgically before. It doesn't have to do it, but if it's something you want to do, that's the only way you're going to really get rid of that excess skin, is going to get it tucked surgically. So I hope that helps, but definitely do more tricep stuff is all you can do, and keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing an amazing job. Number 3, how do I not overeat at Christmas? Oh, here we go. Getting into the big time now. So I love Christmas as much as the next person. I really do. I enjoy the family get-togethers. It's, like most families, I suppose, it's getting together around food, drinking, all that kind of thing, which is fantastic. It's a very social event for a lot of people. And so overeating is a big one, right? It's a time, it's a holiday period, it's the end of the year, everyone's buggered from work, you just want to let loose and have a good time, and I get it. For this particular person, or if you're out there and you've got a particular goal you want to get to, it's still a challenging time, because there can be a little bit of a wrestle in your head around, how much do I have, how much do I not have? All I would suggest is that you please don't have the all or nothing approach when it comes to the holidays. So what I mean by that is that, if you choose to let loose on Christmas Day and have the chocolate stocking or have whatever, have the Christmas pudding or something, that's okay. Don't get to the next day and think, oh, well, I ate bad yesterday, so the whole holidays is written off now. We don't want to do that. That's not the right mentality. The next day is a new day, and you approach it differently. That's fine. I think the best thing I can say for this is that you still want to enjoy food, you still want to enjoy the finer things in life, especially during this time of the year, but you still need to set some guidelines for yourself. That's so important. And only you can do that, and you still got to keep yourself accountable to that. So, maybe you don't eat the whole stocking, you just eat one chocolate out of the stocking. Or maybe, you don't eat all the pudding, you eat a little bit of the pudding. Things like that, that's all you need to do. Just make better decisions more regularly through the holiday period, but still enjoy life a bit. I think if you maintain your activity levels, if you keep moving, that always keeps you in a healthier state of mind. So you're then wanting to and willing to eat healthier. If you sit on your bum for 2 weeks and just eat, then you're not going to be very motivated to not make good decisions. If that makes sense. And then secondly, I'd say just keep your water up. Keep drinking plenty of water, because that's going to help negate, the urge to eat more of those foods. Because a lot of the foods you're going to eat possibly during the period of Christmas are going to be like high in sugar, high in fat, high in salts. And so your brain's going to want more of that stuff as you give it more. So having water, making sure you're keeping hydrated is going to help a little bit to help negate that and keep your thirst levels quenched as well. I hope that helps, but enjoy Christmas, man, and have a little bit of a balance there. That's okay. Number 4, I have dodgy knees. Is lunging good for me? All right. I know the person who's asked this question, and I know a couple of people who have dodgy knees. And first thing is, if you've got dodgy knees and you're watching this video and you're not sure what's causing the dodginess of your knee, please get it looked at. So there's different things going on. Your knees are too valuable for you to not get it looked at if you've got sore knees. It could be anything from tight muscles around your knee to it could be more internally in the knee, like meniscus or ACL, or you maybe got no cartilage left. I don't know, but it's important to make sure that you get diagnosed what's happening with your knees. Go to a physio specialist, whatever it means to do that. We can obviously work around that, no problems. So we've got people here who have dodgy knees. It's very common. So maybe people have played netball their whole life or sport, or I don't know, they've had an injury of some sort. And so sometimes lunging, because of the asymmetrical movement, that basically you're putting one leg in front of another, and what that does is it can tend to load the knees quite a bit with the balance and whatnot as well, and instability. It can be quite painful for some people. So for some people, not lunging is a good idea. And then for others, I'll tell you a story of one particular girl who trains here with us still. And about 12 months ago, she joined up and she said, "Oh, look, I don't lunge anymore because I've had an injury in the past and I just don't lunge. I find it hurts my knees." And that was no problems. We worked around that fine. And then about 6 months ago or so, or maybe 3 months ago, she came to a workshop we had here run by a physiotherapist, and he was talking a lot in that workshop around the mind-to-muscle connection and around pain as well, and how sometimes your trepidation around certain movements will increase your pain levels because you're expecting it to hurt, therefore the body reacts in a way and it hurts. And so anyway, after doing this and coming to this seminar and listening to this guy talk, she came back to the next session, and we had lunges on the board, and anyway, she started lunging. I was like, "Yeah, you sure you want to lunge?" She said, "Yeah, I'm going to give it a go." And ever since then, she's been fine. So it's just funny, isn't it? Sometimes we have injuries in the past, and it creates a trepidation and fear of doing that exercise because it caused pain in the past. But it doesn't always mean it's going to cause pain again in the future. And sometimes if you stop fearing it, amazingly, the pain will go away. I don't know. I'm no scientist, but there is a scientific theory around this. So. But it doesn't mean that's the right thing for you to do. You've got to make sure, first of all, you understand what's going on with your knees, because we can't diagnose, and neither can you, I'm guessing. And so get it looked at professionally by someone so you know what the best scenario for you to do. Maybe it's okay that you can lunge, and maybe it's great for you to do that, and maybe it's not for now. So I hope that helps. Get it looked at first, and then we can go from there. Last question. Okay, this is a question we actually pose to our CoreFit community. So why is the obesity epidemic in Australia worsening every year? Thought I'd talk a bit more about this, sorry. Some of the suggestions we had back from our community were, okay, so convenience is part of the reason why the obesity epidemic is definitely worsening. I'd agree with that. We no longer have to go and get our food. We no longer have to hunt and gather like we have done for 99.9% of our evolution. We can now call up Uber Eats and it'll come to us. Apathy. So look, some people, may have just don't care. Some people maybe have got a bit I guess they've lost faith in their own ability to get this thing right because of all the confusion and media and diets and stuff, and I get that too. Portion sizes, sure, a lot of us have grown up, you've got to finish everything on your plate, you've got to eat everything there. There's that fear of missing out if you don't eat it all at the buffet, and so we eat probably too much one sitting, and I get that. Aging population was another one that got thrown up, and that was an interesting one. I never thought about that, but there are statistics to obviously show that the population is getting older, and because of that, I mean, if you add 2 and 2 together, an aging population means probably less activity for that population, and therefore they put on more weight as a result, and then go into the obese category. Food marketing is another one too, so I'm going to speak a bit more about that. Food marketing, I believe, is probably one of the biggest factors, which I never used to think about. But over my own process of health and fitness and getting healthier from when I was younger, it's something certainly that I've started to arm myself more towards. So I'm going to look at the main 2 lifestyle factors first. So first of all, inactivity is a big one. I guess these days we live in a society, a tech society, and so that technology has kind of unfortunately bred a more sedentary lifestyle, or even a lazier lifestyle, if you want to put it that way. We sit more at work than we ever have. We're on computers more. We sit and game more than we ever have. We binge Netflix more than we ever have. We sit in the car more than we ever have. So all these things adding to more sedentary lifestyle, and we know that the more sedentary we are, the more weight we're probably going to store as a result, particularly if we don't get number 2 right, which is the food. And the food is the number one reason why, unfortunately, in my opinion anyway, why the population is becoming more and more and more obese in the Western world in general. So I'm gonna, I guess, over the next 2 minutes, I'll talk to you about this little scenario. So imagine I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Last Samurai. So Last Samurai is a great little movie by, I don't know who made it, but Tom Cruise is in it, and it's basically a movie where you've got the Japanese people, the samurais, the traditionalists of the land, and the English invaders. And at the end of the movie, there's a big fight scene. And so the English invaders, they turn up with the guns, and the Japanese samurais and the traditionalists of the land, they turn up with swords and samurais. And so one team's turning up with guns, and the other one's turning up with swords. And obviously, as you can imagine, the Brits, the English invaders, they kind of dominate the poor old Japanese who didn't stand a chance. And I want you to think about this for a second. So food marketing companies have been marketing to us for a long time, and not all food marketing companies are evil. None of them are evil, but they've all got a job to do, and that's to sell more products so they can make more profit. Especially the big companies like the big sugar industry, and you've got your fast food companies and all that kind of stuff. They're turning up to the fight with guns, and unfortunately, the people, you and me, the individual, the majority of us, we're turning up with swords. And so it's not a very fair fight. And so why I say that, and what I mean by that, is that these guys over here have spent millions and millions and billions of dollars on researching how you think, what you like, what you don't like, what tastes you like, how to get into your emotional needs, so that they can basically control your food thoughts for you. So on a subliminal level that you don't even know. And so, it gets to the point where, hey, if you feel down in the day, I'll grab that Diet Coke or that Coca-Cola because that'll pep me up, that'll make me feel better. Or I'm having a crappy day, or something's gone wrong, I need to lift me up, I'll grab that chocolate out of the fridge because that chocolate is going to make me feel better. And so, basically what happens is you associate that food with pleasure, that food with feeling better, that food with happiness. And they've done this over a long time. This hasn't happened over the last 6 minutes. This has been happening for a long time. And so they know that if they keep you coming back for more, you'll want more, because a lot of the foods that these big companies produce are full of addictive things. Sugar keeps you coming back for more. Salt, flavorings, additives, all these things that keep your brain stimulated. They never keep you nutritionally full, but they keep you perpetually hungry, because that way you come back and you're a repeat customer and you buy more food and they make more profit. Hope that makes sense. And so they're turning up to the fight with guns. And then you've got the poor old person who's been struggling with their weight their whole life, and they've done every diet under the sun, and they're turning up with a sword to this gunfight. And the reason they're doing that is because they're not armed with the right mental muscles or the artillery to be able to negate that marketing. And so my big belief is that it really comes down to the person individually to try and upskill themselves in terms of how do you emotionally eat, and knowing your triggers for what you eat and how you eat are so key important. And this is something I've learned a lot more about in the last 12 months through my own research. But I think when you start understanding how the big food marketing companies work and how their messages try to get through to you and how you react to the message, you can then start making a lot better choices when you start understanding how to beat those messages a little bit more. And you go, no, I'm not gonna give in this day because I know what you're doing now. I know what you're trying to do to me. And that's a pretty powerful thing when you start thinking on that level. You no longer feel beholden to foods that you once did, like I did. I was a very unhealthy kid. I was a very unconscious eater. I had no self-awareness whatsoever for what used to go in my body. Till you become a person who's a lot more self-aware of what you start eating. And you're not to the point where you start hating food. Like, you still enjoy food and you still eat like the great stuff, the nice food and the chocolates and chips or whatever savory stuff you love, or the alcohol. But you do it in a way where you can moderate it, and you can also do it in a way where it doesn't have control over your life. You can say no and you're happy to say no, and sometimes you say yes and you're happy to say yes. But you don't walk into the room anymore and you don't look at the whole table of food and you get that point where you're like, I can't control myself, I just got to eat it all. Because I know some people live their life there and it's not fun, and I used to be there as well. So, I think for that, it's about arming yourself more so that you can start turning up to the fight with guns against the marketing companies that have also got guns. Otherwise, if you continue to turn up with a sword against the gunfight, you're going to find it really hard to win the battle long term for your health. So, my advice is, if you eat less packaged food, less stuff out of a packet, less processed food, straight away you're on a winner. More fresh food is always going to help you. Drink plenty of water and just try to stay active. And if you do those three things pretty well, you're going to have some success. But yeah, that's just my take anyway. I might be wrong, but I believe there's a lot to it. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, food marketing companies are going to be around for as long as I think forever probably, because they make too much money. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's not going anywhere. So it really does come down to the person individually to, have a bit more self-awareness around their own emotional eating triggers so that you can make more powerful decisions and informed decisions for yourself moving forward. Cool. I hope that helps. That's the Friday 5 for this week and this year. We'll be back in the new year with some more topics. But other than that, have a great Christmas. Splurge a little, stay active, and be healthy and enjoy life. See you soon. Bye-bye.